Okay, greetings everybody and welcome to Spider's Web. Of course you know my name is Spider and this is the place where you're going to get wrapped up, tied up, and tangled up in a web of great topics and great conversations. And today we're going to have a conversation about flat and round earth, world, right? Okay, either way I'm not into that, but they are. So, let's introduce ourselves, starting with you, miss.
I'm Brandy.
Nixon.
Theodore.
You said what?
Theodore.
Okay, so, wait a minute, hold up. Guys, we have paperwork.
Yeah, I don't know. Hold on. Nixon, he came prepared.
Right, what is this?
A little prepared. What we got here is a Gleason New Standard Map of the World. This is the one that they used before they went to this whole global round Earth. And the other piece of paper what we have is, this is the gentleman that came from Operation Paperclip. He was kind of one of the Nazis engineers who supposedly designed the rocket that went out of space. And that is his gravestone. We're going to get into why we have this picture this a little later once we get into the room.
Do you have paperwork too?
He's
Do
not
you have
ready.
No, I didn't.
Okay, well,
Okay.
Mr. Nixon came prepared, y'all.
Ready.
We ready. Okay, so who's going to start? Do you believe the earth is round?
So
or flat?
I'm more like, I don't really know how I feel yet.
You kind of
Like, I'm kind of in the middle. It's like I'm interested in listening to what the flat earthers have to say. Because
So
sometimes
you said the
the
what?
flat earthers,
That's what they call people that.
that's what they're called.
Yeah.
That's
The flat
what
earthers.
we call them.
We
the
should be
flat-
labeled that. That sound kind of.
Okay, what do you want to call them?
The people that's right. That's what we should be. The people that's right.
No.
The people that's right. Then
Flat
what are
earthers
the people?
sound like-
Because
I like
honestly,
flat earthers.
No, we go with that.
I like
For the
flat.
video, we go with that.
What is the people that's wrong called?
The wrong people.
Just regular schmegular regular people.
Okay. Okay, so that's how you feel about it.
Yeah.
You're kind of stuck in the middle,
Yeah.
and you believe the earth is.
I believe and I know the Earth is 100% flat.
You
I
know.
yes,
Oh
I know.
my
I was. Listen, I was around Earth at once upon a time.
Around
When this information came about, and it just too much proof, it's too much, it's just too many. It's like one of the things where you got more than 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 20 things pointing, showing you that the Earth is flat. So
It's
like,
conspiracy.
it's not a conspiracy.
Kinda.
It's fact. So I believe the Earth was around from I was a little kid until about, I'll say about 2, 3 years ago. And then once I came across the information, I dug, I did my research. I wasn't quickly convinced, but after thoroughly looking through it, I believe, and I have the facts and the proof to show that the Earth is 100% flat.
Okay, and what do you think it is? And you need to talk a little louder so that we can pick you up on the mic.
I believe the earth is a sphere. That's what.
Wait a minute, so you're not saying round or flat?
Sphere's round.
So
Yeah.
is it a dome over
So
it
it's
too?
basketball.
No,
So
no.
it's a
No,
basketball.
that's what he thinks.
Yeah, that's
He
right.
thinks it's the dome. We'll get
You think it's a basketball?
Round, like the way we see it, the way we see a picture.
So like a basketball, a beach ball.
Yeah, I'm not saying.
Like the globe.
Yes.
That's
Yeah,
called
yeah.
globe.
Okay,
So let's just say
That's
round,
all
so
the
we don't
sphere.
confuse the people.
Yeah,
Right, so
okay,
it's just
round.
round.
I'll say
Sphere,
round. I'll say
round, beach ball, basketball.
Yeah, same thing.
Obviously, we all know we get lied to by the government and
All the
whatever, all the time, on a daily basis. But that doesn't mean everything's a lie.
right,
From-
okay.
I've gone through a lot of the flat earth theories, and it just seems like all of the data surrounding all of their really good points are still just not what we would call credible. And you know, it's, in my experience, it's like the difference between going to Wikipedia for a resource and going to a credible .gov website that has cited facts. A lot of the facts look good, but once you dig deeper into it scientifically,
You find stuff that can debunk.
it's debunked pretty easily. Whether you go through, a person's perception of common sense or scientific facts, I don't really want to go into the religious aspect of it because it doesn't really there's no argument at that point just because it goes to, that's just how it is. And that's never enough for me personally.
You know what's crazy? Because I never noticed your voice was this deep. This must be the, I'm the sleepy.
It's
Oh,
Theodore.
wait, this-
Theodore.
Oh, that's,
This is Theodore.
Yeah, no, I'm different at work.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
For the 8 to 10 hours.
I don't know what the world is. Flag around it doesn't matter to me because as long as I'm living here, and that's all that counts. As long as they don't start saying it's round, and if you don't stand to the left, you'll fall off on the right. Then I'm
There is
good.
no fall.
Oh yeah, that doesn't make any sense if the earth, because you said the wall, and then, okay, explain that, let's start with that.
Okay.
Good one.
That's a good
Okay, wait a minute. Somebody pass me a bottle so I can get some wine, please.
Ooh, which one you want, girl?
Whatever one is open. Thank you.
It's actually really
All right. So she wanted us to
stuff.
get started with the ice wall.
Yeah.
All right. So first, as I explained to you guys, and from a man Theodore over here that says everything is easily debunked. There's a lot of things that show fact, and it's not debunkable at all.
Okay.
Like she was saying, the world is surrounded by ice wall. It's what we consider to be Antarctica. On a sphere's globe or a round globe, like he believed it is, Antarctica sits at the bottom of the globe.
Mm-hmm.
Now you take that ball and you smush it down, that continent at the bottom then becomes the outer surface.
Okay.
And that's what Antarctica is. Antarctica is the ice wall that keeps everybody from falling off. Now, if you Google images or you do research on Antarctica, all you see is ships and very, very, very high ice walls. Now, the same air carriers that we all are accustomed to, they look like small ants next to these ice walls. I mean, they're a whole another 200 feet up in the air. So that's not nothing that's debunkable. That's facts. Navy expeditions been out there 3-4 different times, and they get to these ice walls and they can't get past them. So that's not a myth. That's not a conspiracy theory. That's 100% true fact. The Antarctica Treaty that I showed you. As much as there's war going on today, as much as there was war going on back then, for some reason, all of the countries were able to agree somehow, some way on that one specific topic. They signed a treaty that's called the Antarctica Treaty that did not allow any country, any person to live there, to build there, or to own any of the land. Every country agreed to that. That's not debunkable. That's not a myth. That's not a conspiracy theory. It's signed, it's documented. The United Nations has it platted to where every country has to honor that. So if every other piece of land on Earth is explorable, people allowed to visit, vacation there, but for some reason, when you look up the living population in Antarctica, which is just as cold as the North Pole,
Right.
is zero. The only people that are allowed to go there are scientists and the military that's protecting this isolated area.
And it's isolated because the world is flat,
And they know that.
so they gotta protect us from falling off.
No, they're not to protect us from falling off. You can't fall.
Oh,
So this is Antarctica?
Yes, that's the ice wall. That's why it's white on the interior.
so you're saying the red is
The
No,
white.
the white.
that's right here, this part right here.
The red, what you're looking at, is a perfect clock, just like the clock that you wear on your wrist. The Earth, the globe is the perfect clock. If you look at the time, it has from 12 to 12, from 3 to 3. It's the same thing.
This is,
And that was a map that was in all of the libraries. It was honored, and then they start hitting us with this round 1,000 mile per hour spin the ball thing, and now that's what everybody believes.
okay, so this is the standard map of the world.
Yes.
Longitude and the time calculated, right?
Hello? Who's
So-
Gleason?
Gleason was
They're right here.
he was a gentleman that it was basically just a map that was named after him. It wasn't the guy that actually made it. It was just named after him.
Okay.
There was many other names and there was many other maps, but that was just one of the most marvelous. And that the reason why I knew that one was it was kind of platted like in all the libraries before they took it down.
Okay, and this is the guy, this guy is who?
Yeah, that's a gentleman that worked with Walt Disney to make the first space movies, and he was also the guy that supposedly designed the first rocket for the Soviet Union and the United States to take out of space.
We are getting a lot of information today, guys.
Yeah.
I don't know none of
Yeah,
it.
he was he was supposed to be the brilliant mind behind that. But the reason why I gave y'all, because when he died, he had one request, and that was for his wife to only leave that Bible verse on his gravestone.
Okay, and you disagree now
About what?
about
And
what you just said? Yeah,
About pretty
the
much
whole-
all.
Right, the whole thing.
So we can start with the wall theory. There are, Antarctica is, you're not allowed to go there, that's been decided by all countries. But there are other protected areas in the world that nobody can go to. There's certain hazardous areas like live volcanoes, islands that still have indigenous people that haven't been introduced to our civilization. It would just be dangerous to go there without completely wiping them out or, you know, dealing with threats from them or just, you know, completely changing a group of people's perspective on the world. But aside from that, so Antarctica falls in that just because it's extremely dangerous to go to. The whole ice walls, those walls haven't really been thoroughly researched because they can't. It's ice, so it looks like a wall because over the years, the way you know how mountains build up, the sediment, you know, creates layers and layers over time.
Right.
That's the same thing that's happening with the ice. It's just a mountain of rock, except it's just ice. That's
So the mountain of rock,
yeah, it's
but ice.
But ice. It's huge.
And you said it's a wall.
It's definitely wrong.
Now-
And he said there's other places like where indigenous people are, but there's not a military base keeping you from bothering these indigenous people. There's not military bases or military forces there keeping you from going near volcanoes. If
Right.
I wanted to play Indiana Jones right now and go jump into a volcano, I can easily do so. There's nobody there to stop me. And Antarctica, if you fly over Antarctica, you're coming down fast. There's no teeter-tottering around there. There's no, oh, I'm lost, I don't know where I'm going. You're gonna be met there. It's a different approach.
So
It's
you
like,
feel like
They're bringing you down.
You feel like it's suspect.
I mean, there's no other. It's kind of like Fort Knox. Like why would an entire piece of land be held and kept away from people? I mean, when you do the research and you look at all the missions that they had, explorations that they had, it makes total sense. You know what I mean? You get why they keep people away from us. I mean, even when we're gonna get into any encyclopedia before 1950, it has the measurements of the dome. They flew from New Zealand and did measurements. They shot drones up there. They got the measurements. It was 13,000 miles and 13,000 feet. I forgot which one it was, but they clearly, before they banned that being inside the encyclopedia, they showed you, they shared that information. But after 1958, once they did the Operation High Jump, which was a name basically quoting jump over the ice walls, they came back, they took that encyclopedia, and all of a sudden they formed NASA. And that gentleman, for some reason, he had to get with Walt Disney and produce 3 movies. Guess what all the movies were? Space movies.
But I'm confused, because can't you go there for like scientific research? and
No.
stuff?
He said scientists can go there, but we,
There's parts that can be told,
No, you can. There's like cruises
right.
that'll let you cruise on the outskirts. But as far as like going inland or like just exploring, it's no. They have a 0 population. The only place on the face of the earth that has a 0 population. It clearly states in the Antarctic Treaty, no one's allowed to live there, build there, own the land.
By all
No.
means. So you're saying it's a dome. So when you say it's a dome, it kind of makes me think of the movie The Hunger Games.
Yeah.
You know, 'cause they kind of within the dome and
Yes.
they control everything within it.
Yes, and actually the dome model, the dome theory is in a lot of movies. It's in a lot of movies, it's in a lot of cartoons, and it's because just like anything in Hollywood, they show you and slap you in the face and stuff, but you think it's entertainment, but
Right.
the whole time they're reflecting what they already know. It's not a hidden secret. You don't have to discover or go looking for some treasure to find this information. All you gotta do is let your smartphone be smart, Google it, and it's gonna tell you.
But what if you're not as smart as your smartphone and you Google it? You just can't seem to find everything.
Just look for it. You can just Google
Happens to me.
proof of dome or this dome earth. I mean, and it's like, I don't use this religion to prove my point. But when you take the Bible and you go hand in hand with what these people are doing, who are, the government is anti-Bible. They're not the Bible
Right.
at all. But when you read the Bible and you read Genesis, and God tells you how He built the earth and how it's a pyramid, which is the clear glass dome, and He tells you that there's water on top of the dome, and then you look up and you see a blue sky and there's a light outside, and then you watch these military operations shoot nuclear missiles in the sky. Now, you have a lot of space, you shoot a missile over it should either just continue to go, or it should just blow up once it reaches altitude where it just explodes. But they're doing measurements from the edge to the center for months on end and shooting the nuclear missiles into the sky. Testing heights. Why would you be testing heights for something that doesn't have a ceiling?
And do you know about that?
There's certain things I looked up about that, and like most military operations, there isn't enough information that we have access to really verify.
That's
Yeah, there really isn't. Like, it's not.
that's low.
There's so many. There's things that are out there that theories are built around, but
That's not. These are not theories.
no, I know the operations are real. They are there at the same
They're
thing.
definitely.
And I do like you were talking about how Walt Disney had to make the movies. I do believe that the government has been involved with the psychological conditioning through the media to have us prepared in case like
Exactly.
aliens popped up. That's fine. I believe that there's aliens. That's
Oh, that's another topic.
yeah, that's another thing. That's
Yes.
another
Oh,
thing. That's
yes.
just an example.
So
Like
you don't
that's the
believe
root.
No.
Oh, okay.
It can't be
That's
aliens.
another thing.
If they can't get in the dome, how they get here?
They made the dome.
They didn't make anything.
There's a dome there.
God-
They made, if
God-
there's a dome.
God made the
They
dome.
put that shit
God
there.
made the dome. And just think about it, right?
Operation Fishbowl.
Just look at the goddamn
Operation
name.
Fishbowl.
Look at the goddamn name. When you think of a fishbowl, you think of a what? A clear glass circle dome that a little goldfish will live in, right?
Okay.
Now, Operation Fishbowl, it clearly it's not real. This
You
is
disagree?
this is
Disagree.
You
this is
disagree?
government documented.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is. It happened in 1962. There's even videos of it. Operation Fishbowl was a series of high-altitude nuclear tests in 1962, were carried out by the United States as a part of the law Operation Dominic. Now, Dominic in Latin.
Wikipedia though.
No, you can look any research you want to.
See, that's where
You can YouTube it. You can look everywhere else.
that's where I think that's where the conspiracy theories were built around. There, a lot of times there's military operations that people think, oh, they're doing something. They've got to be hiding something. I honestly believe they wanted to see how far these missiles could go. For what's going on right now, we've got this potential World War III. It'd be nice to know how far our nuclear bombs could go.
So why
The
they
only way to do that without alarming any other country.
Yeah.
Good
It's
counter.
by shooting
Good
it
counter.
straight up in the air, because if you shoot it straight up in the air,
Yeah.
you can gather the distance going straight up without interfering with anybody else's
So how do you get a measurement?
Just the same way you measure anything else. In 1962, they got computers to measure that.
So why does the same rocket that you shoot in the middle of Earth goes up 13,000 feet, and why when you shoot on the edge only goes up 112?
What do you mean? So why does the rocket go?
If this is Earth, you shoot it in the middle, it goes up 13,000 feet.
Yes.
If you shoot on the edge, it goes up 120 feet. I mean, same missiles. That means you got two different heights. How does that happen?
That isn't. Well, I don't know where all the numbers are
Oh, it's
coming
documented. It's right
from.
here.
So if you shoot it on the, but that's
Here's my
assuming there's
laptop
a,
and my mouse.
assuming there's an edge of the Earth.
And his mouse.
Okay.
And why name it Operation Fishbowl?
Fishbowl.
Then not only that Operation Dominic, which was the operation, the side Operation Fishbowl, Dominic in Latin means belonging to God. Why have
Dominic in Latin means.
why have
It means what?
belonging to God?
Belonging to God.
Why have those
See,
names?
it looks like the Operation Fishbowl. The way the graphs look when they're shooting missiles in the air and the data they're recording, it just creates a dome shape. So somebody who was in the office probably saw that and was like, okay, we'll call it Operation Fishbowl. Because like you said, when you think of a fishbowl, it's shaped like a
Don't you
dome.
nod to that.
I don't think
Don't you nod to that.
Because it just looks like, because this graph, this
I do
look,
not
Don't you
agree.
the graph along associated with what you showed me, I just clicked on the first graph, and it's just showing the debris field and how far it went up. And then the trajectory, it's shaped like a
Shape like a
fishbowl.
fish, right.
That's, now look, I know for
Okay.
somebody
Okay.
who believes in conspiracy theories, it's the perfect
So-
excuse.
I mean, okay,
He said-
conspiracy theory.
He said that your trajectory gives you a dome.
Just for this graph.
Okay, now think about this, right?
Because what happens when a nuke goes off?
No. But you're kind of proving the point, okay? So if you have a
He
glass
proving the
ceiling,
point for you, right?
yeah, he really is. He don't even realize it. If you have a glass ceiling, right? Okay, if you let's say if I shoot a rocket up, right?
Mhm.
And if it were just to blow up, it would just do like a little boom. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? What he just said was it hit the ceiling, and then they gave a dome projector.
No, I'm not
now,
saying it hit the ceiling.
well, in the video and in the documents, it says that. In the video, you can watch it. When it hits, it reflects and it scatters out. It scatters out like it takes the shape of the dome
Okay.
because there is no passing there. The military, the United States will not have something that's called Operation Deep Freeze. Go back and call it Operation High Jump. Then go back and call it Operation Fishbowl. Then go back and call it Operation Dominate. Ice, dome. Come back, NASA. NASA in Hebrew means to deceive. Walt Disney and this gentleman made 3 movies.
You said NASA and Hebrew.
Means to deceive, which was the original.
Go ahead and look
language.
it up.
Yeah, go ahead and look it up. And then this guy, for some reason, had to go get Walt Disney. Now tell me what does going out of space and Mickey Mouse have to do with each other? But these 2 guys were together. They made 3 movies in 1955.
What movies are
Man in the Moon, Man Out of Space, and something else on space. Now, anybody that knows anything about television program, anybody knows the brain and the eyes, when you see something 3 times, it's stored. They gave you 3 space movies in 1950s, then in 1969, told you they landed on the moon.
Right, so those are what I consider to be subliminal messages that we get from watching these.
They get you prepared for the live.
Right.
Why does a spacecraft engineer doing with Walt Disney World, with the director of streaming going to make movies about going out of space? And Walt Disney, if you don't know, he designed the first graphic novel. Then he picked Spaceship Earth and Epcot right after 1972.
So,
They
It does need to deceive.
I know, but that's what I'm saying. See, when you watch the pattern, just pay attention. 1950s, why these operations have been going on? This guy and Walt Disney. Like, I don't want you guys to confuse what I'm talking about. We're talking about
Yeah.
Mickey Mouse, Goofy, Donald Duck,
Right.
We know.
Mr. Disney.
the most imaginary mind that they said there ever was.
Mhm.
Gave you 3 space movies with the space guy. Then they tell you 14 years later they landed on the moon. Why?
so
Set you up for it.
Get you prepared to believe this lie. Watch this movie. We did it when we showed you in the movie.
So in the 50s, that's when you said Walt Disney was approached and all that to make the movies.
Yeah.
What was also going on in the 50s back then? I think that was, what was that? That was in the Cold War was going on?
No, that's when Richard E. Byrd was traveling to Antarctica.
Well, I mean, that was still around.
Wait a minute, why was he traveling there?
Because he was the guy that discovered Greenland.
So he was okay to go there?
Well, it wasn't restricted then.
Oh, okay.
What he was an explorer. Richard E. Byrd was a Navy admiral. So he was the guy that they wanted to discover new land or they wanted to find something, they would send him. They would give him fleets of those same air carriers to let him go. When he went the first time on Operation Deep Freeze, he got there, the conditions was bad. He came back, they gave him 3-4 more fleets to go with him. He went back on Operation High Jump. He did a loop around, he said there's an ice wall, we can't get past it. They climbed out of it, tried to go to the land, it was too much for them, they came back. So once they realized it was this edge and it's dome, they started shooting up rockets. Then once they shot out the rockets, got the altitude, which the measurement that he said is scattered, but they tested the missiles for war, let him tell it. But then they get back all of a sudden, once Rich E. Bird went on 3 expeditions, they do Operation Fishbowl, they do Operation Dominic, they come back right after that, all of a sudden you go from expedition to expedition, shoot rockets, hey, y'all signed a few papers, so nobody really got that place. How does that make sense? How does that make sense? You send a guy to discover
The
something.
first thing I'll say is none of that says the earth is flat.
Regardless of what you said, everything you said is
None of that says the
Everything
earth is
that
flat.
you just said does not prove that
Because
the
there
earth
could
is
be
flat.
something else going on
Now,
there.
the first thing that we were talking about was you were saying in the 50s Walt Disney was approached to make 3 movies about men going to the moon, but during that time the hottest thing in the world was the Cold War, so that was the war for information. And part of that was getting men on the moon, satellites in the sky.
And they wanted to try to be the first.
And everyone was trying to be the first to it was just a race for information. That being the hottest thing going on right now, or at the time, of course movies are going to be made about it. Walt Disney was approached in 55, but that was about 8 years after the Cold War had started and there was even an idea to go to the moon. So they're thinking, okay, he was, we're talking about Disney, we're talking about Mickey Mouse, Donald Duck and all that. Walt Disney was pretty much like the most famous businessman. He was in the entertainment industry. Even Disney today has pretty much a monopoly on the entertainment industry. So when he was approached by the scientist to make a movie about going to the moon, that scientist also just wanted money. At the end of the day, people were doing all this for a paycheck. They weren't out here just talking about, I still haven't heard any of them say the earth is flat. From what I'm being heard, it sounds like Walt Disney
Like
needed
what?
information.
Walt
Walt
Disney
Disney needed
needed
information about space
Okay.
to make a realistic movie.
Okay.
Like if I were to make a movie about, I don't know, scuba diving, I'm gonna go get a master scuba diver to give me the information. If I want to make a movie about rockets, I'm gonna hit up the master of rockets to tell me about rockets. Everyone's gonna make money off of it. This happened how long ago? We're still talking about it. They did it to get rich. None of them have still said the earth is flat. I have not seen, show me a statement from this guy.
That's true.
Show me a statement from
That's
Walt
why I was
Disney.
having a hard time.
Show me a statement from
Well,
anybody
okay.
associated with Operation Fishbowl, High Jump,
Like
or
that
any of
shit.
them that says the earth is flat. Just show me one man involved.
So Nixon had sent a video and it was of that little girl and she was talking.
Oh, we're talking about, what's his name?
And I watched
Buzz
the full-
Aldrin?
Yeah, Buzz Aldrin.
Has
And I
dementia.
watched the full video.
Buzz Aldrin has dementia. In that video,
But
he
not only
has
that,
Alzheimer's.
but not only that, when I watched the full video, he wasn't saying that they didn't go to the.
Oh yeah, no, he was just confused.
No, he said something about they didn't do it, but he wasn't talking about that. When we watched the full video, he
Yeah.
wasn't talking about that. He was
Yeah.
talking about something.
No, I was.
Okay, did you watch the full video?
Yeah, I watched the full
Did you
video
watch
and
I sent
then
it to him, yeah.
there was one you
Nobody
sent
sent
me.
it to me, so I don't know. what
He
that
sent me a
was.
video of Buzz
Anyway.
Aldrin, but there was another one where it does the whole video. There was the beginning of it to the end of the little girl talking.
Yes, that's the one I watched.
And he clearly has dementia. I don't know if you've spoken to somebody that has dementia. Their timeline of their
Okay.
sentence is gonna be
No problem.
middle,
No
beginning,
problem. No problem.
and
We'll take him out. We're
Okay,
gonna
we're gonna eliminate him.
eliminate him.
He helps.
Why eliminate him?
Cause-
He just said he's got dementia.
He said he has dementia. He's crazy. He don't know what he's talking
So
about.
that means he's
So
not
we're
here.
gonna throw that proof out of court.
That's true.
I just don't think the video is proof.
Okay, we're gonna throw the proof out of court. Okay, now we're gonna get back to this guy. We're gonna get back to this guy.
Yes.
The spaceship builder,
The
right?
spaceship builder.
All right. So here's a guy. Doesn't live in California. He doesn't live in Miami, Florida. He doesn't live in the United States of the America.
It's from Germany.
Okay? We're talking about a Soviet spaceship engineer, okay?
He was a rock engineer.
A rocket engineer. He made the rocket spaceship to go as this.
Politically correct.
Okay.
Well, the Nazis wanted
Okay.
the
Now-
Nazis wanted the nukes first.
So this guy is in Germany. Over there.
Okay.
Okay. Hooks up with Walt Disney. Now,
Over here.
he's saying that he did it for money and all this. I don't think that guy was earning for the money. You are building spaceship for.
Well, he also
Hitler.
needed status in the U.S. too.
No, he doesn't.
Yes, he does. He
No,
was building
they-
rockets for
no.
Hitler.
Let me finish. He needed no status at all. He was a well-renowned, known education engineer, right?
Mhm.
Now, he's saying that he had to do these movies to, because there was this big thing about going to space. To me, that's normal, okay? Anybody that's professional in their craft, especially, I mean, you go from engineering to shooting movies, that's two things that don't even go like hand in hand to me. You're not gonna convince me that this guy was somewhere building missiles and he just said, you know what? I want to film movies. No, that's not what happened. What he was trying to do was, at that point in time, there was no space movies. Before you just go and just lie to these people and tell them, hey, we shot this, we got this video of this man walking on the moon, you have to prep people for it.
Mhm.
And by prepping, the best way they use television for everything. When you watch all these zombie movies and these people changing, they prep you for what happened in the world is after. All these worlds being destroyed. Hollywood always have a way of predicting what is to come. That's what they do. It's called television programming for a reason.
Mhm.
So he knew that they was going to tell this lie about going to space. So what they had to do was give this lie to the world first. You see it 3 times, so that way when you actually see it done in real life, it's not something new to you. It's not surprising. You've seen this before. But you see it on television. So when you see it done in real life, you think it's capable of being done.
Right.
A person that plays basketball doesn't have to shoot a movie of playing basketball before they actually do it. A person of any craft or any field that they're in don't have to shoot a movie before they're able to achieve it. There's been a lot of great, brilliant people from Tesla to the Einstein. None of these people went and did a movie of their achievement before it was achieved. If you're gonna have an achievement, you want to be the first to show it. If I'm gonna create something, if I'm gonna be the first to do something, why would I show it to the entire world 3 times and then go and achieve it? That's backwards. If I'm gonna be the first person to land on Mount Olympus, I am not gonna give you a movie of it 3 times and then going to do it. Because now it's not oh my God, look what they just did. So now when you see somebody land in a movie, you saying that, oh, I seen that 3 times in that movie. It's not the same as if when you're the first to show it to be done. So that's why that whole he was out for money and all that. No, a scientist of his magnitude, any scientist, like anyone that's on a cure to cure cancer, anyone that ever discovered anything, Nikola Tesla, light bulb invention, DC current invention, they're not going to go and show it to the world 3 times, then say, hey, look what I was able to do. It's not that significant anymore. So if he was literally putting together a plan to land a man on the moon, do you actually think he would have went and got with Walt Disney and said, hey, let's pick 3 movies out or what I'm looking to achieve with my scientific rockets and spaceship? I don't know no other great adventure, great mind that's ever done that.
I mean, yeah, no, I'd say everybody, absolutely everybody. So things we want to achieve, like what are the scientific achievements we're going for today? Like what are we looking for now? A world with no need for fossil fuels, absolutely full of renewable energy. Look at any movie we watch now about the future. There's so much technology and shit in that movie that we don't have today, but scientists are still working on every single day, 12, 16 hours a day for these things. And they're putting it in movies first because that's what we want.
Well,
So-
the difference is with that, the people that's put it in the movie is actually Lion King. It's actually Marvel. It's actually whatever movie production company you want to name. It's them that's doing it. It's not the actual
And
scientists.
look at who they consult for the information on exactly like all the designs they come up with, all the crazy things we see, like the futuristic stuff, the time machines. Just look at the consultants, look at the producers list, look at the names. You'll see names of scientists in certain departments or military,
it's
military
not
consultants.
someone that's on the brink of a discovery.
That's not
It's-
true.
it's-
How do you
it's
know?
just-
Who are we
it's just-
decide that?
No.
Somebody is researching something right
That
now. It
would
may
be
not work
something-
today, but if it
Yeah.
works tomorrow,
No.
from today
Okay.
to tomorrow, that was
You
discovered.
gotta think. You gotta think as.
You can never decide when somebody's on the brink of discovery because they haven't discovered.
Think about what you're saying. You talking about great mind. You talking about an inventor. You talking about achieving
Well, I have
something.
something about this guy specifically too, about the Walt Disney thing. He did need money. Werner von Braun, he needed money. He was a German scientist. He had a hit on him from Hitler. People were after his life. He was completely exiled from his country. His wealth and everything was stripped from him.
Okay.
He was a renowned scientist, but you can't, if you have everything stripped from you
He-
and you go
I
to
don't-
another
I don't-
country,
I
like,
don't think he was that. I don't think he was that hard to find.
he wasn't that hard to find. He came
He's
to the
building
US
rockets.
where,
You think somebody building rockets is hard to find?
okay, but you think, okay, so
No.
you think a German refugee, or let's say a Russian refugee, let's say somebody backstabs Putin or kills Putin on the Russia side and needs to be safe from Russia, where are they gonna go? The United States.
But he went back to.
No, he was in the US.
He went back to. He was
After
in
Hitler was
exile.
gone, after the Nazis were completely
No,
done
but
away with, he
Hitler-
went back, but he was safe.
Hitler never had an issue with him.
Yes, he did, because he went back, he gave the news to the US.
He continued though, because
And Hitler died
No.
before any of that
they
happened, but like,
claim, supposedly, they actually landed on the moon before the U.S. And he was part of both of those expeditions. So it wasn't like he couldn't go back to Germany or he was a part of both of the
That's right.
expeditions. And his engineering was supposedly that landed them
they put a satellite first.
Yeah, but he helped
Because he helped it, but
He
then
was
he
part of
helped us put a person. The goal was to
Yeah,
put
but
a
I get
person,
it. But
not a
what I'm
robot.
saying is, a person that's will no longer be wanted there will not be helping on a space expedition. What I'm saying, and for two, a person that knew that they went out of space, a person that knew that there's light millions of miles of planets out of space, would have not requested for the only thing to be put on his tombstone is the one thing that proves that you can't leave his atmosphere. The one Bible verse he asked to build on there shows that God built the firmament. Psalms 19:1 says that heaven declares the glory of God, and the firmament, which is the enclosed dome, shows his handiwork. That Bible verse is basically saying that firmament shows that this place was built by God. Why would a guy that did nothing but go out of space leave that on his gravestone? That sounds like a gentleman who knew he'd been lying the whole goddamn time. And he told his wife, baby, we've been lying to these fucking people. And most people, when they get something off their chest, you know when they get it off? When they fucking die. So when he died, his wife made his gravestone. Oh, let me finish. This doesn't says, beloved Vera Von Braun, son of whoever,
But why didn't he just
or
say
he was a great
flat?
man. He was a great man.
Yeah,
Listen,
no, I was gonna say,
this says it plain and clear. For him to leave this Bible verse, you don't need to be Scooby Doo. You don't need to be goddamn Indiana Jones. It says the heaven declares the glory of God, and the firmament shows his handiwork. The firmament is the dome. So the guy that went out of space, leaving the Bible verse on his grave after he passed, leaving the Bible verse saying that God built the firmament, and it showed that this place was built by him. Why the hell would you think that you go out of space? And he said that we're not.
I mean, I have a bunch of different reasons for all of that.
Okay, so what's
So
the
debunk this Bible verse, please.
So do you think that the point of going out of space does that have anything to do with determining whether the Earth is round or flat?
Yes, it does, because it shows you that it's flat with a dome over it.
So the movies. Okay, so wait a minute. When they send a rocket ship up to space, that didn't really happen, right?
It never does. Even when you watch a rocket launch, when the rocket launches, it always goes just like this. Every time. You never see a rocket take off and just goes.
It goes like that
When it goes up, it goes just like this. It goes
Okay.
out of your vision. That shit drops in the ocean somewhere. They send a boat out there to get the motherfucking people, and they take their ass back to a little higher. There is nobody going out of space. If they was going out of space like that in 1969, why the fuck are these people not going no more? Why you have we no longer have that technology anymore.
Okay, so they were just
That's
talking
wrong.
about, I think a year or so ago, they were just talking about how they're starting to make it so people can take a vacation to.
It's-
Huh? Okay.
It's because they went to the moon, so, and there was
Oh, they
nothing
came to the
there.
moon?
They wanted,
Yeah.
They need to go. I'll find
Yeah,
There
please,
was-
I would have it.
so,
Right, did you hear that
So how much? Oh yeah, no, I've heard about. They're talking about they're trying to put hotels like.
Right.
Hotels.
Yeah, but
When you hear that,
regardless,
hotels.
regardless,
Marriott on the move.
for the rich, yeah.
too? The Radisson.
I have a question. I have a question.
We don't know
I
yet.
have a question. Okay, I have a question.
Oh, shit.
How can you build a hotel somewhere that you've been once, and you haven't been there in 50
Well,
something
it's
years?
not. It's in space. It's not like on the
Right.
moon.
No,
It's gonna be a space station.
no.
They
I'm
do
saying,
that
okay.
space all the time.
Oh, they do?
There's
They
astronauts in
say
space right
they
now.
do. What, huh?
There's
They say
astronauts
they
in space. Yeah.
Okay, it's what?
There's astronauts. There's an
The
international space
international
station.
Space now.
There's people. There's people on the moon.
Actually, there's people in Maryland where I live that recently just said they saw.
We've only been to the moon a couple times, but going to space, that's space. That's.
Okay, I have a quick question. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Why has no one been out of space and gave you a clear 360 view of outer space?
They have.
They claim they showed it. but-
Every time you see an Earth image, it's a computer generated
No,
picture.
that's-
Okay, and I have a better question.
You disagree.
Yeah, I watched
No,
the video.
find me one.
I
Find me one.
sent
Here.
it to you.
Oh,
and you
good. I
laughed
haven't seen
at
it.
it. and
Okay,
I was
I have a
Did you get the same?
Okay.
I have another question. Right? The sun is out of space, right? Why have there never been a picture of them going out of space and turning around and taking some type of image or video of the sun?
Did you not see the video I sent you?
I never seen it.
You saw the sun in it.
There has never been. I looked.
I might
And
need
this
something
is why.
wider than some
This is
wine.
why I know. This is why I know there. This is why I know there is none. There is not one image, a picture of these so-called people always floating out of space because they're closer to the sun. Remember, we're down here 93 million miles away. Don't forget that. The sun is 93.
93 million
Yeah,
miles,
that's the biggest bullshit I've heard in my life. But if they're going out of space where the sun is, why is there not one image of the sun from outer space?
There's images. She's gonna pull.
Not
it up.
one.
So.
When she looks, you know
One
what
thing
they
I
look
said-
like? They look like a screensaver.
So.
Okay, there it is.
They're,
That's the
No,
video.
that's not
That's
the
the video.
one.
That's the video you said?
No.
I can show you a video of a boy walking on the wall and somebody computer modified it and
Yeah,
turned.
make it look like that. I know.
Come on, bro.
Bro, that shit is real. You can't tell me that's fake.
That's
Okay,
real.
set it up a little bit.
That guy has like 19 GoPros hooked on him.
Look at this. You know what that look like? That look like when a movie come on and it say dun, dun, dun. That's what the fuck that looks like.
Well, the movie was modeling right after that.
Bro, that is not out of space.
So okay, I do need to stop. So we.
I can do that on my iPhone. I can edit something like that on my iPhone. Yes, I can.
But you
That
know,
is not true.
but you can. So I'll make.
I know I can.
So you can, right? You can do that on your iPhone, but there weren't iPhones in 1972 when a lot of those images came out.
But that image is
That's
not
not
from
from
1970.
No, you're right, but there are plenty of
That's
images from
not because the shit
1972.
that they showed in 1972 looked like it was shot in the goddamn garage. You
Yeah,
said,
but the
"God,
technology back then, it would have literally cost more
One
money to
man-
film that movie than it would have to send somebody to space. And we didn't have that technology back then to do computer generated.
Well, let them tell it they don't have the technology anymore to go back to the
Well,
moon.
and that's the thing, that's never been said.
Yes, it has.
No. What's
It's not-
been
it's not
said
hard to
is,
quickly-
and if you're gonna say what Buzz Aldrin says,
No,
that's-
fuck Buzz.
so
We threw
what's
him
been
out.
said is
We threw
they've
him out.
Oh, yeah, we
gone
threw
to
him out.
Yeah, you don't count
so, because I haven't been able to debunk anything, I haven't been able to make any of my points in a while.
Wow.
So they've gone to the moon, there's nothing there. Why, you know how much money it costs to go to the moon, we're talking about billions of dollars, why spend that money to continue to go somewhere?
Okay, wait.
Oh, money.
Time
You
out.
can't have a problem with money. We give
It's not
40
about
million every time somebody's place get blow up.
It's not about having a
You think
problem.
about money? We just gave
But why?
what's the country that got attacked?
I don't
We
know.
just gave them goddamn $400 million for getting blown up. So you don't think we have money to go to the moon?
But why,
To build hotels?
why use it?
Why
Why
use it?
use it to go to the moon?
These
Like you
people
said,
have
we just gave money to Ukraine.
Time out.
Okay.
If you're gonna use the argument, don't let it be money. Please don't let it be money.
Why?
Because these people print and spend that shit like it ain't nothing.
Show me their bank account.
Trump just showed you. He just showed you last year when they tried to get him to pass that budget. They spent $300 billion counting fish.
Yeah.
So you think they won't spend money to go out of space?
No. Not to they spend money
So the
to
fish
do
is more
other
important.
stuff. There's other stuff going
You're
on.
telling me the fish is more
There's
important.
other stuff, but the fish had nothing to do with those funds. Like you're talking about,
Oh,
you're talking about so many
that's not
different things right now.
That's not a good.
You can't
Okay,
connect,
so time out for a
you
second.
can't connect unrelated topics and then try to make it like that doesn't make any sense.
Okay, I
So-
just want to backtrack a little bit because somebody said that they don't have the technology to go to the moon anymore.
Yeah, he said that.
They don't have the technology to go to the moon
Yeah,
anymore.
because-
With all the technology we
There
have
was an
today. we
astronaut
can-
that said that. Who was it? You
A whole bunch of them.
Buzz Aldrin mentioned,
No.
mentioned something in that
No,
wrong.
it's
way.
been
They had the technology then, they have more technology
Listen,
today.
there is no
listen.
technology.
There's been numerous of astronauts. I had to pay you almost for them. But the problem is, I don't know if you guys know this, but you can't go fill out an application just to be an astronaut. It's a real tight knit community. You know what I mean? They, and I don't know if you know this, but all of them have to have that little Freemason. They're handpicked, but every last one of them is going to say the same thing that this man says. They saying that we lost the technology. Now, we have technology where I can FaceTime you from here to there, or we can do all these amazing things now, because, you know, we got these bright minds, and we have all this Wi-Fi and 5G, so we should be able to do everything. We went in 1969, did they have a VCR back then?
No.
Exactly, so we didn't have a fucking VCR. So don't tell me that if you got there in 1969, when I seen pictures of that damn spacecraft and like that bitch was wrapped in aluminum foil, don't tell me that you can't get there now.
I haven't
That's
seen
bullcrap.
that yet. I haven't seen somebody say that their technology isn't there.
You seen somebody say that? Oh.
No, hold on.
He works that fucking
just
damn
started-
thing.
Wait. We just started the clip. You just started the
I'll
clip.
pull up how many you want, brother.
14, but hold on. What was said before?
Yeah,
that?
you need to know
Context
what
is
was-
there's
Okay,
14
okay.
seconds here.
Yeah.
Show me the whole
Yeah.
thing. Because when you first said that Buzz Aldrin thing, you
Yeah.
took a minute.
He
of
was
what
talking
he
about
said.
Mars Space. I don't
There
know
was
what
an
he
18
said.
But yeah,
Show me, just show me the whole thing. I want the whole thing. I want the transcript. It's so easy, like you said, I can go on my iPhone and cut a piece of somebody's statement and
What
make
is-
it look like
what-
they said something completely different. That's not
Okay, they took this video down. Hold on, give me a second. I'm gonna
because
find
it
you.
was.
I'm gonna find you. Because it was
They
facts.
took this video
A
down.
lot of those videos get taken down because people
So are
splice
you still
shit
in the middle?
together.
Are you moving closer to
I'm moving
the
closer
earth
away
is
from
round?
flatter. Yeah.
You moving closer what?
I'm moving like away from flatter. I don't.
From the flat earth. Okay, so you're more into it's round.
Yeah.
So why have we been since 1969?
Why have none of the people that you've talked about so far said the earth is flat?
Who? Okay.
Yeah, when they.
Well, who
Hold on,
said
hold
the
on,
earth is
hold on.
round?
Time out.
That's just
Okay,
general-
but
that's
this is why I see this is why I don't get because you taught this in elementary school. They have to say the Earth is flat, but he can leave a verse that only points to there being a dome over the Earth. You can't go out of space.
I didn't get to go
Hold
over my
on, let me
song
finish.
at this point either.
Nobody has says one time that the Earth is round. Not once. But for some reason they have to say it to be flat for it to be flat. Show me.
Someone saying the earth is round?
No. Show me any expedition. Show me any proof where people are actually attempting to find something besides this one bullshit ass
When you
attempt to
look
land
at
on the moon.
pilots, I was watching a bunch of videos of pilots saying that the Earth is round.
No, I have a bunch of videos of the Earth saying the Earth is flat. You know why? Because when a pilot takes off and gets to 30,000 feet, you know he put the plane on
Autopilot.
autopilot. He don't fly or touch the motherfucking handle again to the time to put the plane down.
Autopilot, yes.
If you're on the ball, you have to keep adjusting to stay at 30,000 feet. 30,000 feet. If you go up in the air, that means they take off, go up in the air. The pilot gets up, he walks around, he goes, takes a shit, take a piss, have a lady fix him a drink. When he gets to goddamn Los Angeles, he sit down, hey,
I'm sure
flat
he
that
doesn't-
wing,
I'm
let's
sure
put it
he
down.
doesn't put his shit on autopilot for goddamn 10 hours.
He doesn't touch the handle
No,
again
pretty much
until he lands the plane.
From takeoff
There is
to-
no way you can do that. If you go by
The
the
computer system.
If
We got cars that drive themselves on the interstate. We got commercial cars that drive themselves on the internet. The plane is
It's the
doing it.
same
The
thing
computer
as
system is doing
Tesla
it.
No.
does.
Why can't
There-
the computer do that?
when a pilot flies, there's a thing called a pilot ball that's on his adjustment on his dashboard.
Yeah.
He picks the exact mileage of where he's going to where he lands. There's no curvature. If you was curvature, do you know what the curvature is around Earth?
Do I know what the exact curvature is of the Earth?
Yes, it's
No.
it's supposed to be almost close to a mile every mile and a half of curvature. If you're flying the plane, there's no way that pilot can leave that thing on autopilot and just let it go by itself. The plane does not have a adjusted 30,000 feet to the measurement of the Earth. There's no way the plane can measure itself from the ground 30,000 feet every goddamn 15 minutes.
saying dollars.
I mean 13,000 feet.
Well, yeah, no, you know, I know what you're saying every time, but
There's no way.
why
And
can't
pilots have said that.
Why?
They say when they fly, that proves that the Earth is flat. There's no
That
adjusting.
doesn't prove. There's the.
How?
I can't remember exactly what it's called. I don't want to pronounce it wrong, but there is a meter that measures altitude.
No, it doesn't.
Yes, it does.
No, it does not.
I mean,
I watch
Are you a pilot?
I watch F-15 videos. I mean, pilots that drive F-15s, and I watch pilots that drive commercial aircraft for like Delta and everything like that.
Alright.
All of them, they never even thought about it until somebody brought the flat and round Earth thing to them. Then he said,
just
"Well,
look up the name of the device that measures altitude because I've gone through the little fighter pilot course. The first thing they do in the military when they want to be a fighter pilot, that's what they did at my last job, and there's a name for it. That's one of the most important things. There's a device that measures altitude.
it
from
doesn't
the
make
ground.
the plane." Okay, for one, if a plane
Mhm.
adjusted, right?
Yeah.
I'm sure you're doing any plane. My girls in Texas, so I fly
Oh,
all the
yeah, all the
time.
time, yeah.
Okay.
All the
So if you're on a plane, now when that plane drops a little bit, you can feel it.
Yeah.
So if the plane had this automatic adjustment mechanism, you said it's on the plane, when it was bending to curve and stayed at 30,000 feet as it turned in with the this round Earth that we have, you would feel the plane moving. When the plane is going up, you feel every fucking mile when he gets there. When he get at 30,000 feet, unless you run into some type of turbulence or you run into some rough clouds or rough air, you don't feel a goddamn thing. You sleep like a baby. The moment that plane begins to come down, you know how I know? That's when I wake up. The moment I take off on the plane, I literally fall asleep.
You sleep.
Once he get to 30,000 feet and he put that bitch on auto, I fall asleep. The moment I feel that plane like this, oh shit, we can ready to land. I wake up and you can feel it. So if that plane was adjusting the whole time, you will feel it the whole ride.
No.
Uh, eh,
Not if the computer's
not
doing
as
it.
aggressive because when you're about to
That's
land,
not
you're
right.
gonna be going down.
so is it aggressive when it's landing? Is the plane dropping aggressively when it's landing?
When it's starting to land, yeah, because that's when the
Yeah.
No, the
pilot.
hell it's not.
It's way more aggressive.
Yeah.
It's way more aggressive.
So you're telling me when they're landing the plane, you're scared?
And one thing I do need to point
You're
out.
scared? Well, I don't know what
One
plane you've
thing,
been on.
one thing I want to point out is.
You've been at the youth fair or something, because every plane I've been on,
Okay.
when he's landing, I slept through.
One thing to point out is we've both been on planes plenty of times, probably our whole lives, both of us. Neither of us are pilots. We cannot confirm anything you're
You
saying.
don't need to be a pilot.
You can't
You need to be a
confirm
pilot to
anything
feel
you're
the
saying.
plane?
No, I'm not talking about feeling the plane.
You
I'm
need
not
to be a
talking about-
You
pilot.
just said you slept during landing.
I'm not talking
No,
about.
he said he wake up during
I'm
when he
not-
sleep.
No,
when he takes
he
off.
does.
I'm not talking about. You don't need to be a pilot.
Baby, listen to what I'm saying. This is what I'm saying.
Plane.
You do not need to be a pilot to feel the plane.
No, you don't. But you
When
do
that
need to
plane
be a
gets up to
pilot discuss
30,000
whether or
feet.
not the plane can be
No.
controlled on autopilot or not.
Even if it wasn't autopilot.
You can't.
If it wasn't
It doesn't
autopilot,
matter if or not.
if that plane had to
You want to
adjust,
call a pilot? I
No.
know a pilot. I'll call
My
a
point is,
Colin.
if that plane had to adjust to the shape of a round Earth, it would be adjusting the whole flight.
Yeah,
You're not gonna tell. I don't
It
feel
is
from
adjusting.
Miami to California.
It is adjusting.
You're
the
talking
whole
about a
flight.
4.5
Yes.
flight. You will feel that plane doing this to stay at 30,000 feet.
See, but this is
Go
where
around
I'm
the globe.
confused
You
because
never
you
feel
can
that.
feel adjustments in the flight. Yes, you can.
What adjustments you feel?
I don't feel
You're
it.
saying you fall asleep. I don't always fall
Only
asleep.
what
You
adjustments
just-
you feel?
Just the plane moving slightly. You can feel that.
No, that's
Have you gone up and walked?
rough clouds.
Have you gone up and
That's rough clouds.
That's rough clouds.
Yes.
And what are those rough clouds doing?
If you get on the
The
plane at 30,
density of the clouds is moving the plane altitude-wise up and down. So that
so
rough
the clouds
clouds.
on the plane?
What are rough clouds? How is that? That's moving the plane.
No, I'm saying.
Okay, so wait a minute. You said that's rough
he's saying he's felt the plane move.
Yeah, you can
Right.
feel the plane.
That's when a plane travels through thick air.
Yeah.
A pilot can see the thick air before you even get to it, because he'll tell you. He say, "Hey, I'm seeing some thick clouds here. We probably gonna run into a little turbulence. Then it's gonna clear up, and once we get over Atlanta, we'll be smooth sailing from there." He can tell you when
It's
you
because he's
when you-
flying through water. That's what that means. When you see a cloud, you are flying, because that's what a cloud is, condensed water in the
Right.
air. So that's running into a partial solid. That's a heavy object running into something. It's not something solid, but it's almost solid. That's gonna stop the plane a little bit. The computer is making up for that adjustment, and yeah, you do feel all of that.
It's not the cloud that makes the plane move. It's the rough weather.
Weather too. You're right. No, there's so
When
many
it-
different
when
factors.
it's-
Weather
when
can make the
it's
plane
rough-
move. Clouds can make the plane move. Humidity can make the plane
When it's
move.
rough, when it's
So
rough
many
weather,
different things.
when it's rough weather, or it's like a small little buildup, or it don't have to be an actual storm. It can just be a buildup. They can see it. It's like a little red radar, and that's how they know you from going to this cloud. But none of that adjusts the plane.
So you're telling me there's radars that can sense clouds in the sky, but there's nothing that can sense the ground underneath you? You said you can't tell how high the plane is
That's a
in the
question.
sky because there's no way to
No,
tell
he-
how
he-
high
no,
you
no.
are in the sky.
He
But you
knows.
can tell-
The pilot knows how high he is.
Okay,
When he gets to 30,000 feet, he
Yeah.
knows he had 30,000 knots.
but you're saying
That's why he
the computer cannot maintain 30,000 feet?
There's nothing that shows the plane that does that.
According to who?
You find it. You can't just see what you're doing is
Okay,
you're telling me that a plane does something without showing me.
How?
Because every time I get on the plane, I have never felt
But
like
isn't that is that considered confidential information?
no.
No.
Why?
Because of like
They
And
fly-
that's like
No, it's not.
you know how
They fly. They,
and the same device they use in the plane is the same device they use in submarines to see how far the ocean floor is from the ground. It's the same technology. Like it's
Like
just
how you know we
different
can't take
applications.
pictures of like the reactors and stuff. That's what
Well,
that's what I was thinking.
that's not the same thing.
No, it's not really confidential for stuff like that.
Yeah, I was gonna say, yeah, no. Definitely not.
So then
They fly the plane that way every day. That's not.
so then show me a picture of
Oh, what?
First off, before you get shown has been destroyed. Let's take a look first on again when it comes to watching.
Okay, so what are we watching right now?
This is the
Because the viewers
the guy
cannot
from
see it.
the guy from this is the guy from NASA. It's just a video. I never watched it before, but it's basically saying that he's saying we lost the technology. Hold on.
He looks scary.
Yeah.
He said they're really, really good at making pictures to make it look like you never left the planet.
What a strange person this is. Basically,
That is crazy that you just said that.
no, but how do you say inside the plane how they don't show like the altitude of like how far the plane or how high up the plane actually is? Then you should be able to look up pictures of the plane, right? And see. Does it show you that?
No, he's saying that they have some type of software that automatically adjusts the plane to this round Earth. That's what he was saying. I
Is that what
never.
you're saying?
Yes.
Is
He,
that what you-
Well, okay, one thing, so just alone saying that there's some sort of software that automatically adjusts to this round Earth. No, there is software that can measure distance from one point between another.
And
The Earth
keep
is
you
round,
at
it's gonna
that
keep that
point.
distance. If the Earth is flat, it's gonna keep that distance. There's software that does that. And that has nothing to do with the Earth being round or flat. There's software that can achieve that, like this is the plane, this is a circle. There's software that can keep this exactly 6 inches away from this the whole time. Doesn't matter. It's not-
okay.
If there's a mountain there, it's
I
gonna
agree
go
with
up.
you. I
So
agree
what's
with you.
that have to do with your
But what I'm
plane?
saying was, if that was the case,
Yeah.
why don't we feel the plane moving?
We do feel the plane moving. That's
No,
what
we
I don't
don't.
understand.
You
I'm
get
not
in the
playing.
air.
Brother, when I get to-
the plane moving in the air.
I took 47
You've
flights.
never been in a plane that takes a turn?
I have. I
You've
took
never been in a plane that takes a
47
turn?
flights from 2019 to now.
Yeah. I know I've taken more my whole life.
When I get on the plane and I get to 30,000 square feet,
Yeah.
I don't feel a goddamn thing.
I feel.
You can sit there.
There's been times where I don't feel anything. and
Okay,
other times
okay,
where I do
okay.
feel
So
stuff.
it's different
Okay, hold on,
because
hold on.
it's turbulent?
I got flight is adjusting the whole time, right? Now, you say you ain't flying much, but I guarantee you flew enough to goddamn understand this. When you get on the plane, what do they make sure everybody do before they take off?
Put the seatbelt.
Okay. When does the pilot allow you to take your seatbelt off?
Once you get to 30,000 feet.
Okay.
When the plane is put on autopilot.
No, let me finish. When you get to 30,000 square feet, the pilot said, okay, flight school, you gotta come out here and get these beverages.
Yeah.
You gotta use the bathroom, you go around and use it. If you want to take your seatbelt off, you take your seatbelt off. When do they make you put the seatbelt back on?
When they take it off autopilot.
No.
When they start descending.
When they about to land.
But you know what that's also
When
called?
they are about to land.
Let me finish.
When they take it off autopilot. That's when they take it off autopilot. Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
It's not an autopilot when they're taking off.
Yeah, yes, no, there isn't.
Okay, but-
they take off, put autopilot
Bro,
on.
you're proving my point.
No, I'm not.
The only time they allowed you to walk around, the only time they allowed the flight school to go up and down the aisle, is when the plane is no longer moving no more and it's on autopilot. The moment you take off, when they get to 30,000 square feet, you hear that bing. You may take your seatbelt off now. Flight school will be coming down your aisle, serve you with beverages. If you want to buy something, let's have your credit card ready.
Beverages.
When the plane get ready to come down, before he gets ready to adjust or move that plane, everybody has to be seated. Your seat has to, that little goddamn desk got to be put up. Your seatbelt got to be on. They make you goddamn sit your seat all the way up. You know why? Because the plane is getting ready to move again for the first time since the motherfucker took off. If it was adjusting the
He said
whole
for the first time since it took off.
exactly. If it was adjusting the whole time, that means you have to have your seatbelt and everything the whole time. Because that plane is constantly moving. When they get to 30,000 square feet, that plane is not moving. And you know how I also know they adjusting it because anytime if you flew like I did, when you're facing bad turbulence, if the pilot feels that if he can drop down 10,000 miles, 10,000 feet to get in clear air, he would do that. So he would make everybody put their seatbelts. He would drop the plane 10,000 miles, get in clear air, and he said we're gonna ride this out to where we get to where we're going because the turbulence is too bad.
But you know what's crazy?
There is no auto adjustment. This is not a test.
Okay, go ahead.
The same thing every car does auto, what's that? What's it called?
It's called,
Cruise control.
Cruise control.
That's not the same thing, baby. That's keeping it at one speed. All right. I mean, that don't mean you take your hand off the steering wheel.
Well, somebody
You don't.
Teslas you can.
Yeah, but the Teslas are not even 100% driver.
No, they're not.
They're not.
No, they have killed people.
But
This lady crashed and she sued me.
Yes. Teslas are not. My friend has two of them.
She said you took your hand off and
They're not 100% drive-proof. So if you can't drive a car on the ground, you think they're gonna have a plane with
But because
400
it's not
something
gonna
people
be-
live in it, doing it in the sky?
imagine a
No.
really steep
nothing in the
hill,
sky.
and imagine a hill that's not that steep, and you're trying to run up it, right? It's the same
okay,
idea.
I don't need to imagine anything. There's an explanation. There's an explanation.
Not as steep.
All right, there's an explanation for what you're
So
saying.
that
Like,
plane
there's,
isn't gonna be moving as fast, so when it's making that adjustment, it's not as gradual, so it's gonna be like a slower, that's why you might not feel it.
there's an explanation. All right, so your whole, there is autopilot. Like that's the computer controls, a computer could control any machine better than a human can. When a human takes over of anything, you start to feel.
So why is it
Wait, no, let me finish.
Why is it Tesla
I'll let
fast?
everybody finish. Let me finish.
okay, go ahead.
So
Go ahead.
when you don't feel the plane moving when it's at 30,000 feet because the computer has full control. It is programmed to make you not feel those adjustments. That is the purpose of that. That's why you don't need your seatbelt on because they trust the computer enough for you to be able to walk to your seat to the bathroom and back. You start to feel it on takeoff because that is when the pilot is holding it. You literally hear that bang when he clicks autopilot, that they're connected. When it comes off, you start to feel the plane moving because the pilot has taken over. A human cannot move anything as smooth as a computer can. That's why they're getting rid of manual transmissions and everything because the technology has gotten so advanced, a person can't control that. There is going to be a day where pilots aren't needed to take off anymore.
I don't think they're doing it because the person can't control it. I think they're doing it because it's financial, it's more money.
Well,
That's
no,
all it is.
but it's-
Because honestly speaking, a person does control their vehicle, when they took that first car to test it, so the car drives by itself without a person, that car crashed
No, it
into a
did.
truck
It
because it mistakenly took the headlights from the truck to be the sun.
But
So it just kept going.
there's no truck in the air
No, but I'm saying, I'm just saying, when you said the computer
Yeah.
can control it better than the
though.
man.
No, the computer can make adjustments to control
As far as
speed,
the- as far
inertia,
as like-
all that stuff, but the computer isn't, you're right, the computer's not gonna stop from crashing into something. If a mountain appeared in the middle of nowhere in the sky, yeah, the plane's gonna crash into something.
You're saying.
But you're not gonna feel the plane go up or down at all. That's what the computer's programmed to do. When the Tesla's driving, you're not gonna feel it switch from 67 miles an hour to 65 miles an hour because it does it so smooth. You'll feel it when that bitch crashes, yeah, obviously.
Well, I don't feel it when I drive other vehicles, not just a Tesla. But at the same time, I have a question. The question is, since we were talking about flying
Yeah.
on the flat earth,
Yeah.
if we're flying and it's round, how does it work? Because if it's round, doesn't it gotta fly around to get to?
And it's just gonna be,
country?
it's gonna stay the
Fly
same
around?
distance.
Don't forget it's spinning.
Or is it going around this way? Which way is it flying?
Don't forget the earth is spinning too.
Huh? What?
Don't forget the earth is spinning while this plane is in the sky. So don't leave that part out. I'm gonna let him
It's
answer.
all spinning. Everything
So
is
you
spinning
have a
within
plane.
the atmosphere, everything is
You
spinning.
have a plane landing on a spinning object.
Huh? I'm sorry.
My brain hurts.
Your brain hurts. Why
Sure,
you
no,
think?
the earth
You
is,
want a drink?
the earth,
It's hot over
You
here.
might need something to swallow. I can't take that off
the
early.
earth is spinning, but saying the earth is spinning, it's easy to make it seem stupid when you're just saying the earth is spinning. Again, if we're gonna be proper, the earth is orbiting. There's multiple,
Orbiting, okay.
there's different rotations happening at the same time. The earth is orbiting the sun while spinning. The moon is in perfect rotation with the earth. That's why when we look at the moon, it looks the same no matter what part
Where
you're
you are,
looking at
right.
of the earth. If the earth was flat, where's this? Okay. Where's the moon at on this? At night, where's the moon at?
Where's the moon?
Where's the
Where's the
moon
moon
at
at?
night? Where on the flat earth, like where is the moon? Where's the moon at in the sky?
The moon moves like the second hand on the clock. It moves slower than the sun. The sun, you see these angles here? The sun rotates just like that, just like the clock.
So the moon is the second
And the
hand.
moon is, the second hand is slower.
So I can say the sun is here, the moon's here.
Mhm.
Okay, so if the moon is here, how are we? How? Well, I mean, that doesn't make sense. The moon would have to be over in the middle too.
What's the question?
How
Do we all
how
see
are
it
we
the
all
same?
seeing the same image?
Yeah, that's a
What
good
do you
one.
mean?
When every image we see of the moon, there's a light side of the moon, there's a dark side of the moon. The moon is like, I gotta hold stuff up.
Like
It's-
you're sitting here, right? But I'm up there, and Francis is up there, and we look down at you. It's gonna look
My
different.
wife lives, okay, my wife lives in Texas. I FaceTime her every day.
Yeah.
We got streaming device.
From the moment I leave work and get in my car, she falls asleep on the phone with me. I wake up in the morning, yawn, hey, good morning, we're on FaceTime all the time.
What?
That's love.
The sun, like on this perfect round clock, just like the earth is. Every day when I'm FaceTiming her, just like just now today, when I was going to go get our things put
You were like,
out,
baby, show me the moon.
it was completely pitch black here. Over there, it was bright as daylight. It was total noon.
Yeah.
I'm seeing the moon. She is not seeing the moon. We're not seeing the same thing. Not until an hour later, when the sun passes her, that's when she's seeing the moon. So we're not seeing the same thing.
But what
The
I'm
same
saying
way.
is the moon looks the same from her perspective as
Yeah.
it did from your perspective. So let's imagine there's a dot right there on the moon. Like, well, I mean, I don't even
I got a
imagine.
picture.
I don't even
Honestly,
imagine. There's mountain ranges that you can see.
Honestly, he's proven the
No,
flat
I'm
earth.
not. You keep saying that.
Because look. If you're okay, listen. If you're on
And you still don't let me finish either.
okay, go ahead. I'm gonna do that because
So,
I thought you just asked me a
the
question.
moon looks the same. The moon looks the same. Like, no matter where we are on Earth, the moon looks the same.
Right.
If the Earth was flat, there's people here, there's people here. It is impossible for them to be seeing the same image of the moon, because eventually they're going to see it, doesn't matter what time. It's impossible for them to see that shit.
Okay.
The same thing we're seeing, just off of perspective alone. We
Let
would
me
be seeing
know
the
what you want me to ask.
So how are we all seeing the same image of the moon? how come one person isn't seeing the back of the moon and one person isn't seeing the front of the moon from one side of the
Well,
moon?
is the moon just the same front
Wait,
and
wait,
back?
wait, here.
No.
This is
It's the moon, the same side of the moon is always facing the earth.
this is a great question. I am so happy he answered this. This is getting so good. Spiderweb audience, please help us. Please help us answer this. Just get you some more wine, okay?
You want something stronger?
Now, let's take a.
What are you looking for?
Okay, I need a ball.
Ball?
Let's say, give me that pool ball.
I got you.
We have balls behind us the whole time.
All right,
That's a ball.
this is the Earth. Okay. Now, this don't take no technology. This don't take no scientists. This don't take this. This is just common sense. Okay. Now, tell me, listener, just think about this. This is the Earth.
Yes.
That's the earth.
We ain't gonna say it's
Looks like
spinning.
it.
We ain't gonna say all this is outer space, right? Okay. Now, if the sun is here, right?
Right?
Let's say I'm here. Okay.
Okay.
Let's say you are back here somewhere.
Okay.
Would you be seeing the sun?
No.
Okay.
So that makes sense why your wife didn't see it.
No, it doesn't. Let's go to the
Yeah.
little science experiment. No, he just said, why do all of us see the sun and the moon at the same time?
No.
No, that's not
What you said?
Why does the moon look up? So, like, when you see a picture of the moon, you
So
know how
on
it kind of looks
one
like there's
day-
mountain
Wait,
ranges?
let him finish.
You know how it kind of looks like there's mountain ranges on the moon? Like, you see that same image of the moon? No matter what, we are seeing, like, everyone sees that same image. If the earth was flat, there's times, like, just based off how large the earth is and where the moon's at, let's say the bottom of the earth, that's where it's nighttime right now. It would be impossible for people seeing the moon on the western side and the moon on the eastern side to be seeing the same image if the earth was flat, because there would be no,
Okay.
it would be flat. They would be looking up and one person would see one side of the moon and one person would see the other,
Okay.
but that's never the case.
I'm gonna ask you a question. How many times have we seen the moon during the daytime?
All the time.
A lot.
All the time, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, it's been documented where somebody in China could be seeing the moon at nighttime, and we could be over here in Virginia and seeing the moon, but we're seeing it during the daytime because the sun is out. Okay? Now, if we're on this ball, that means the person here and the person here should not be seeing the same thing.
No.
There is no reason you standing here seeing all this down here should be the same thing we standing here seeing all of this. But then, if you take a flat earth like this, right,
Mm-hmm.
and you sit an object up here in the sky, then that is why everybody down here on this flat goddamn surface can all see the same thing at the same time.
But they
The
can
only-
see it at the same time.
Hold
All
on,
the
hold on.
time, and they-
The only reason this person sees the moon at night is because the sun is over here. Then when the sun comes around, you know, like it does every 12 hours, just like the perfect hand on the clock, and it gets here, now this person is seeing the moon during the daytime, and now the person over here is seeing the moon at nighttime. That's why it's nighttime here, and that's why it's daytime here. The same way I explained to you, like when I used to live in Miami, Florida, okay? Miami, Florida is down here. This is a lot smaller of a map. When the sun comes around, and it takes that 3 hour, little trip that it takes to get to California, and then the sun happens to set 3 hours behind it does in Miami every day of the year, that's not a coincidence. That's not around Earth. That is a flat clock. That is a watch. That is a timepiece. The same way there is days, months, and years, there's second, minutes, and hours. God said He built it that way. That's the same way It's built. That's why if you get on a plane right now and you fly to California, when you land in 3 hours, it's going to be the same time that it took you to get there. You know why? Because they're calculating the amount of time that it took the sun to get to you. They're not saying that you spun on the earth on this side of the flat earth. It's a timepiece. It's a timepiece. Every day I talk to my wife, when the sun sets here at 5:35, it sets in Texas at 6:35. You know why? Because she's in exactly an hour behind us. That's why you have Eastern Standard Time. That's why you have Central Standard Time. That's why you have Pacific Standard Time. You know why? Because that sun is doing its job. It's been that hour hand on the clock. It's taking its time to leave from Virginia, and it takes exactly an hour to get to Texas. Then it takes exactly an hour to get to. If it was out of space, baby, and we on this ball, there is no way.
It's like a flashlight.
No, I'm just.
Where only the certain amount
if
of
you
the
look at-
earth gets that light.
I'm gonna print you guys a bigger sheet because this down here is showing you the seasons and it's showing you the daylight saving time. The reason why hour goes back, you know how every year when spring comes it jumps, then when fall comes it falls back, because that all happens from the rotation that the sun takes.
But we don't, if I'm not mistaken, we don't have to do daylight savings time.
Yes, you
That's
do.
something that the
I mean, we
government
wouldn't,
decided
if
to
we were,
do.
it's just so we have daylight to, you
We
know,
have
go about
adjusted
our
to
normal
the-
day, but then if we were okay with working at.
Right, because there's
night-
countries that don't do daylight saving time.
Okay,
No, everyone.
hold on. Okay,
Uh,
even if you didn't want to observe daylight saving time, okay?
Mhm.
Let's say you said, I'm finna do my own shit. Let's say you said, I'm not finna observe this shit. Let's say you said, when the clock goes back at 6, I'm not changing my shit, goddammit. It's 7 o'clock. Okay, that's you doing that. Does that change when the sun sets?
It's still,
Does it change?
So, yeah, no, I mean, so what?
Let's answer the question. Let's answer the question.
Well, I mean, the
If
time.
you decide not
time has nothing
to
to
honor
do
the daylight saving time,
it's still gonna do it.
This still has nothing to do with the main thing, though. So, regardless of what you're saying, yeah, that makes sense if the Earth is flat. There's ways to calculate how things.
please tell me what other reason that the sun takes 3 hours to get from Miami to California.
Huh?
What do you mean?
Tell me-
the description. The way,
tell me
the way
why.
the way it's been explained to you. I don't have the. I mean, we can pull it up and give you the reason we're taught for why it goes that, and the reason that you have. That's fine. It makes sense that the Earth is flat for how you're explaining it. The way I would explain it makes sense for the Earth being spherical. But tell me how the Earth is flat. Like, tell me, none of that explains the Earth being flat. You came up with a way, or somebody came up with a way to explain what's going on with the sun and the moon to suit this map.
No, that happens every day.
It,
12, okay.
no, everything happens every day. What I'm saying is the explanation you gave for how the sun moves and how the moon moves,
That's not an explanation, that's what happens.
according to who?
Just look outside every day.
No, I mean, we can look outside every day. We're going to see it from our perspective
Okay,
each day. But according to
tomorrow
you,
at noon, that's
not, no, that's
tomorrow
not what I'm
at
saying.
noon, look where the sun at and tell me it's not directly over you. Then tomorrow at noon, tomorrow at 5:35, whenever the sun sets, call somebody else that live on either in Texas or
In the West
California
Coast, yeah.
and tell them to let
It's
you
gonna be
know.
3 hours behind.
You don't even have to do that, just Google it.
Well, yeah, no, and it's going to be.
It gives you the sunset
Yeah,
every day.
you're right. But how is that telling me the Earth is flat?
Because it shows you the sun operating around the earth. It shows you guys say that we orbit and we're 3 planets back away from the sun. That shows you that the sun actually, the earth is not moving, the earth is not spinning, the earth is not going anywhere. That shows you that the earth is still and the sun is traveling around the earth.
No, it doesn't. It just doesn't. I mean, regardless, I'm just like, I don't know how else to put it. You saying I can just, the sun,
Yeah.
you saying the
Call me
sun,
something strong.
you saying the sun setting on the East Coast at 5, and the sun, and then it being, so if it's 5:30 and the sun setting's
And you
here,
want the Pepsi too?
Yes.
it's 2:30 in California, or the West Coast, it's 2:30, the sun hasn't set yet.
That shows the sun is traveling, not the earth.
That shows the
That
Earth is
shows-
traveling around the sun.
That shows
You could say, so yeah, you could say that shows the sun is traveling, because yeah, that would make sense, but you could also say that shows the Earth is traveling too. Yeah, that also makes sense.
if we go off the earth traveling from your theory, we're
So at
talking.
this particular moment, we can't seem to figure out exactly whether it's, I don't give a damn whether it's round or if it's flat. You're still saying it's flat, you're saying it's round, nobody has actually convinced each other which one it is. So we're gonna call it a night.
We need to have a.
Because we'll be here all fucking day trying to figure out if it's round
Can
or
we
if
do a
it's
part
flat.
2?
We'll do a part two.
Yeah. like
part
Nick,
two.
we're gonna do part
It'll
two.
be easier for part 2. We'll be a little more prepared.
Y'all keep going.
Then now that I know I gotta cook it, goddamn.
I'm gonna be crazy.
Right now.
And I'm gonna get you a full video
No,
that
next
I
time,
saying that they lost the technology too.
Do me a favor. I just need you to show your face real quick and everybody sees you from here. There you go. That's what I'm talking about.
How's
believe
everybody
it-
doing?
You believe the earth is what?
A sphere or a round.
There you go.
Yeah,
And
flat.
and you're
Pancake.
stuck in the middle?
I'm more.
What do you guys think? You guys think
around.
Earth is flat or
I'm more
round?
on that
She
one.
lost.
The Earth is flat or round? Yeah, I gotta tell you,
He don't really think that. He was just trying to be funny.
I didn't
It
hear,
is
I
what
didn't
it
hear no
is.
evidence.
But we're gonna keep talking, and until next time, we're out of here. Thank you. Like, subscribe, don't like, leave a message, let us know, are you around or is it? But we out. Peace.